Tonight, the federal government and resident doctors' dispute still unsettled as industrial court fixes Friday for ruling on application of jurisdiction and contempt of court cases. Again, Minister of Information Alhaji Lai Mohammed gives update on the suspended Twitter services in Nigeria, says talks with microblogging site is at an advanced stage and service to be restored in Nigeria soon. For the second day running, students of the University of Benin defy go-home order by school authorities, demand official statement reversing contentious 20,000 naira late tuition payment fines. And Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, makes Time magazine's list of the world's 100 most influential people in 2021, alongside US President Joe Biden, plus other international news from our London studio.
On Business News tonight, Nigeria's inflation rate slows in the month of August for the 5th consecutive month to 17.01%.
On Sports News tonight, Nigeria's Super Falcons kickstart the Aisha Buhari Six Nation Invitational with a 2-0 win against Mali.
And from Abuja, the Inspector General of Police, Alkali Baba, visits Kwara State Police Command, says security operatives are winning the war against banditry.
Friday, 17th September 2021. That's the date that has been fixed by the National Industrial Court for ruling in the suit between the striking National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, and the federal government, as both parties also agreed to negotiate. The presiding judge, Justice Bashir Alkali, is to rule on the application of jurisdiction and contempt of court filed by both the federal government and the resident doctors.
A large number of members of the National Association of Resident Doctors, led by their president, are in the courtroom of the National Industrial Court to witness the proceedings in the suit filed against them by the federal government. At the resumed hearing, counsel to the striking doctors, Mr. Femi Falana, son, told the court that he had an application challenging the jurisdiction of the court to entertain the case, arguing that the application should take priority before any other one. He also prayed the court to make an order directing both parties to return to the negotiation table in line with the previous order granted by the court, which ordered all parties to cease all forms of hostilities.
We had consultations on both sides with our clients and the lawyers of the government. We've now agreed that we would like to come back on Friday to report the efforts we'll have made. There is an agreement, right, that was not signed by our client, right? We've studied the agreement and we have advised our client that since there is a clause there that nobody shall be penalized or sanctioned for participating in the industrial action, that we believe that there should be no inhibition in signing the agreement, trusting that there will be good faith on the part of the government, so that we can put this matter behind us.
The federal government filed a motion ex parte to compel the doctors to go back to work, and the court granted that order by asking parties to halt hostilities, which means that they were embarked on a strike, they should call off the strike. Also for the resident doctors, Chief Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, approached us on behalf of his clients, indicating that they want the matter to be settled and that his clients are prepared to go back to work. And the documents, some of the MOUs which we signed, which we had agreed on, which they had refused to sign, that they are ready to sign it now and return to work.
The resident doctors say they are ready to get back to their duty posts when all is settled. They also point out that the Nigerian Medical Association is working for the benefit of all doctors.
Within those 48 hours, we expect government to fulfill its part. While we on our own part, we are very ready to go back to work as soon as possible. But the caveat that all the decisions as reached shall be done within 48 hours.
The federal government, through the Ministry of Labor and Employment, had approached the industrial court praying an order of court restraining resident doctors from embarking on the industrial action embarked upon on the 2nd of August.
And 100 days after the ban on Twitter in the country, the federal government has again promised to restore service operations very soon. Declining to give specific details, the Minister of Information and Culture, Mr. Lai Mohammed, told State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting that although the government is working hard to find closure on the matter, it is not unmindful of the anxiety of Nigerians. The Information Minister's reassurances comes after Twitter reportedly disclosed progress reports regarding a resolution on the ban with the federal government, describing it as productive and respectful.
Honestly, we have gone very far. I won't be specific, but we've gone very far. And honestly, it's going to be very, very soon. Let me just take my word for that. Even Twitter itself, 2 days ago, gave what I'll call a progress report on our talks with them. And I think if I want to quote them rightly, they say it's been productive and quite respectful. As to the qualifying, how soon is soon, right? All we're trying to do is, the exchanges have been going on, but we need to dot the I's and also cross the T's. But I can assure Nigerians that we're not unmindful of the anxiety of Nigerians, and both parties, are working very hard to put a closure on the matter.
We'll bring you some more from the Federal Executive Council meeting, which held earlier today. But in the meantime, the Edo State government has begun to enforce its vaccination policy, as only those who produce their valid COVID-19 cards are permitted to enter their offices for work. Those without their cards are sent home, after which their fate will be decided by the state government. This follows the announcement by the Edo State Governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, asking residents to take COVID-19 vaccines or risk being barred from social gatherings.
If you don't get a visual card, you won't enter, no matter who you think you are.
Like the saying about charity beginning at home, the enforcement of no COVID-19 vaccination card, no entry to government facilities, begins at the government house in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, don't disturb her now, please. Please, ma'am, welcome home, ma'am. Let's go in. Thank you, ma'am.
Security agents carry out their checks. There are no excuses on their brief. A member of the COVID-19 response, however, believes that the opening day might still offer some grace to workers.
The enforcement essentially started with government institutions today. So if an officer of government had to go back home to get a card and comes late to work today, I'm sure, their directors are going to give them waivers. Even if at the end of the day you are not able to turn up for work today, there's a good explanation for it. I left my card and I had to go back home. It was too late for me to come back.
At the State Secretariat, the head of the enforcement team, Haruna Yusuf, is part of the screening committee.
It's in the office. I left it.
Who will now follow you to the office? We don't have that instruction. Our instruction is stay at the gate. We don't have that. Go home.
Mr. Yusuf insists that this card verification exercise is not a one-off event.
From our action plan, this is our pilot case. We are starting from government facilities. And going forward, we are going to continue to spread. It's not a one-shot exercise.
The Edo State government insists that the message is clear. Vaccination is not compulsory, but accessing government facilities without being vaccinated would be impossible.
away from the pandemic, but staying in Edo State, the last may not have been heard of the ongoing disagreements between the students of the University of Benin and the management of the institution. The students are now demanding an official statement from the management of the school, reversing an earlier order shutting down the institution indefinitely and asking the students to vacate the school latest by noon, an ultimatum that has since elapsed.
It all started with a peaceful protest on Tuesday with students demanding an outright removal of the 20,000 naira increment of the late registration levy. Day 2, the students continued their demands.
It is anti-student. We all know what the situation of the economy in the country. It is not easy for anybody. It is not easy for our parents. All we are asking for our VC is to be lenient with us. Be lenient with us and give us more time.
These students refused to go home despite the VC's order. However, things suddenly took a new turn as the protesting students ran into the Vice-Chancellor. They tabled their demands before her.
Remove the 20,000 naira fine you brought from nowhere. Students are still finding 45k too difficult to pay. Yes. 2, those that have paid, give them back their money. Some persons borrowed money to pay that money. 3, you woke up this morning and said because students protested, they should evacuate the other residents, that security is coming to throw them out. Tomorrow we have to go to class. No students must be rusticated because of these acts.
Yes. The 20,000 that is causing the problem, we will remove that.
A student union leader insists that her decision to remove the increment and the reversal of the closure order must be in writing and reflected on the students' portal.
We got to know that she has apologized and she said she will reverse the 20k increment. But then, kudos, but then we don't want to hear that until she released an official statement stating that she has done as she said just now.
For now, the students are relieved and hope to resume classes tomorrow. Osazo Baza, Channels Television News.
Into all the stories, President Muhammadu Buhari today swore in 3 new national commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The commissioners were sworn in before the virtual Federal Executive Council meeting, which held at the State House, Abuja. Our State House correspondent, Gloria Mizuke, reports.
In active engagement with the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the President swears in 3 new National Electoral Commissioners before the start of the virtual Federal Executive Council meeting. 6 ministers were physically in attendance for the meeting alongside the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. The commissioners include Dr. Baba Billah, representing the Northeast Zone, Professor Sani Adam, representing the North Central Zone, and Professor Abdullahi Abdu, representing the Northwest Zone. Just before the council meeting went into a closed-door session, it is apparent that the electoral body is not oblivious of the enormous task ahead.
We want to assure Nigerians that we'll continue to do our best conscientiously, and to continue to improve the transparency and credibility of elections in Nigeria. The new commissioners that have just been sworn in are bringing with them accumulated intellectual and administrative experience, and I'm confident that they will add value to our work.
After the meeting, progress on the nation's infrastructure came to the fore. The Executive Council approved a revised project sum of about 30 billion naira for 3 contracts in the South, South and North Central.
Motorists don't have to go through Lafayette. If you climb the the Oweto Bridge across the River Benue, you land in Nasarawa, you'll be landing around Kefi. So it's costing us 103 kilometers from that journey from Otukpo to Abuja, which is about 3 hours. This is strategic also for providing prosperity, lifting people out of poverty, because if the saying that time is money is true, everybody who saves 3 hours has 3 hours extra productivity and also consumes 3 hours less fuel.
And the Ministry of Water Resources is also looking to complete 50 out of 116 inherited projects by 2023. And so Council equally approved about 10.7 billion naira to complete many of these major irrigation projects that will see this through. As a matter of fact, this would see a generation of about 39,000 tons of rice per annum. From the Presidential Villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And in part two, after the break, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu receives the 3 newly sworn-in National Electoral Commissioners, urges them to prioritize national interest. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The federal government and resident doctors' dispute still unsettled as industrial court fixes Friday for ruling on their cases. Minister of Information Alhaji Lai Mohammed again promises services of Twitter will soon be restored in Nigeria. Assures talks with microblogging sites is at an advanced stage. For the second day running, students of the University of Benin demand official statement from school authorities to reverse contentious 20,000 naira late tuition payment fines. And Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Okonjo Iweala, makes Time magazine's list of world's 100 most influential people in 2021, alongside US President Joe Biden. And shortly after the President swore in the new National Commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission, another ceremony took place at the INEC headquarters in Abuja to welcome the appointees. This time, the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, received 4 new commissioners comprising 3 national commissioners and 1 resident electoral commissioner, Professor Saidu Ahmad, who fills the vacancy in Jigawa State, which had been without a resident electoral commissioner. Addressing the new appointees, the chairman of the commission, Professor Yakubu, urged them to put Nigeria first in the discharge of their duties and help raise the bar of electoral integrity. And to some other stories, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has called on people of the southeast of the country to work towards the enthronement of peace in the region and Nigeria at large. National President of CAN, Reverend Samson Ayokunle, made the statement shortly after inaugurating the new executives of the body, which took place at the Ecumenical Center in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital. The host and governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, called on the people to offer prayers for the region.
All the governors of Southeast have done their best. And when you sit at home, they stored food for the governors. We're only sitting at home here. What do we intend to achieve? Nothing. We're killing ourselves. We're saying we're agitating. Agitating for what? So it's a very terrible thing. When our people push restructuring, yes, I agree with restructuring, but it has to be administrative restructuring. I will continue to preach it, that the states that are very weak must be taken care of before we say, let everybody control their resources. There was a time we were houseboys and house girls, and they were very helpful in service to other states. It's a time to be built up before you can collect your VAT separately. I will continue to preach that allow the federal government to collect VAT and share for us, for a chain is as strong as the weakest link.
Staying in the southeast, the caucus of the National Assembly has resolved to set up a committee to engage the federal government and find a political solution on the issue of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, former Deputy Senate President Senator Ekweremadu condemned the security situation in the southeast region, calling on the relevant authorities to find a solution to the situation. The caucus also laments the negative impact of the sit-at-home order.
Elaborately discussed the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and resolved to intervene. To this end, we resolved to set up a committee to constructively interface with the relevant stakeholders, the federal government and its relevant agencies, towards finding a political solution. We will keep Ndibo abreast of developments in this regard. Equally condemned in strongest terms the incessant killings in the southeast. This must stop immediately. Review the sit-at-home orders by the IPOB and the mayhem some nefarious elements have seized the opportunity to visit on the lives, properties, and psyche of our people. The caucus equally reviewed and viewed the incurable economic losses and hardships these have brought upon our region. 3, resolved to condemn in strongest terms the disruption of the ongoing senior secondary school certificate examination in some parts of the southeast, particularly the incident at Comprehensive Secondary School in Kume, Njaba local government area of Imo State, where the English examination, organized by the West African Examination Council WAEC on Monday, September 13, 2021, was ruthlessly scuttled by armed men who chased away the students, teachers, and examiners before setting ablaze motorcycles belonging to the teachers.
And from the southeast to the nation's capital, where Magwe Ogun Yusuf has some more stories. Hi, Magwe.
Hello, Millicent. It's good to see you as always. Security leads the pack today as the Inspector General of Police is given the assurance that security operatives are winning the war against banditry in the country. This comes as he says the more personnel are expected to join the police force to step up the fight. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, made this pledge during a working visit to the Kwara State Command.
It's a one-day official visit of the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, to Kwara State. Accompanied by senior officers in the zone, the police chief is first received at the council chambers at Government House Ilorin, the state capital. Welcoming the IGP, Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak bears his mind on police operational capacity in manning the state.
I'm not saying there are no incidents of violence, crime, and so on, but it's kept to the barest minimal by the presence of your men who are working tirelessly to make sure that the state is peaceful.
Next, the police boss proceeds to the state headquarters, where he addresses officers and men on capacity building and improved welfare package.
I'm here to tell you that there is no problem that I do not know that you will tell me about the Nigeria police. But there is hope at the end of the tunnel. Is it our welfare that we are not working on? We are working on our welfare. Is it the logistics to do the work? We are working on it. Is it our places of abode, accommodation? We are working on it.
Responding to journalists after the briefing, Mr. Alkali Baba adds that police authorities are set to fill about 20,000 personnel deficit.
The President has given approval for us to employ 10,000 every year for 6 years. We've started, but we have not done for 2020. So we are doing for 2020 and 2021. So we are expecting to increase our strength by 20,000 letters by the end of 2022.
The IGP was also at the palace of the Emir of Ilorin, whom he called for support for the community policing project, especially from traditional rulers and other stakeholders.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, has threatened to sanction commanders of barracks and military cantonments should there be any form of attacks henceforth. He's also announced that there will be a monitoring and evaluation performance for commanders to assess the contribution towards curbing insecurity in the country. The Army Chief was speaking during the closing ceremony of a three-day Chief of Army Staff combined second and third quarter conference in Abuja.
I want to remind formation and unit commanders on the need to ensure adequate security of their bases, barracks, and cantonment. Commanders will be held responsible for any security breach. The importance of leadership cannot be overemphasized, especially in the military. Therefore, commanders at all levels must provide quality and good leadership while imbibing the core values of the Nigerian Army. Commanders must also ensure that they remain selfless, build and earn the respect and confidence of their subordinates in order to lead effectively. I, however, seek the understanding and support of all Nigerians to enable us serve the nations as expected. I assure Nigerians that in days ahead, there shall be more visible signs of improved security across the country. The Nigerian Army, within the ambit of the rule of law, will talk to the terrorists, bandits, kidnappers, and other perpetrators of violence in the language they understand, while ensuring that all peace-loving citizens of the country go about their legitimate businesses and live their life without fear or intimidation.
When the news at 10 returns, some residents of Buhari community in Yunusari local government area are feared killed in what people claim is an airstrike. Plus, Africa Capital Works partners Dorman Long Engineering Limited through private engineering equity investment. Do join us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. Now, some residents of Buhari community in Yunusari local government area of Yobe State are feared killed in what the people claim was an airstrike. Local sources told Channels Television that others who were injured in the incident are receiving treatment at the general hospitals in Gaidam and Gashua. When contacted, the acting spokesman of the Nigerian Army Sector 2 Operation Hadinkai in Damaturu, the state capital, Lieutenant Kennedy Anyanwu, said they were yet to receive a situation report in respect of the incident. But in his reaction, the Director of Public Relations and Information of the Nigerian Air Force, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, denied any airstrike, saying the last NAF mission was conducted in Yobe on September the 5th and no bomb or missile was fired. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, is issuing a note of warning to persons whom he describes as miscreants and criminals masquerading as separationist activists in the south, east and west of Nigeria. According to Honorable Gbajabiamila, these separationists have emerged to wreak havoc, take lives and commit economic sabotage against fellow Nigerians and against the state. Describing them as no different from Boko Haram and ISWAP, the Speaker says the 9th House of Representatives will respond accordingly. He stated this during his welcome address to his colleagues in the House of Representatives at the commencement of a new session. In other news, subscription television service operator in Nigeria, Super TV, has launched an application that allows users to stream high-quality and affordable content without using a data bundle. At the launch in Lagos, the chairman of Super TV, Mr. Adedotun Sulaiman, says with the app, the company will be creating an ecosystem in which everyone in the film and video entertainment value chain is rewarded. The chief executive officer of Super TV, Usifo Ataga, was recently stabbed to death, allegedly by one Chidima Ojukwu, who is currently facing trial over the matter.
The whole idea of Super TV is to democratize entertainment. Our vision, our collective quest in Super TV is to deliver a platform that will democratize entertainment, that is to give all Nigerians, irrespective of economic and social class, easy, convenient, and affordable access to best-in-class and locally relevant video entertainment content. Through a network of partnerships that comprise Nigeria's largest telecoms company, the best local and international content aggregators and owners, talented engineers, marketers, customer experience professionals, we hope to build a local ecosystem that finally allows creatives to monetize and get fair rewards for their creative endeavors, whilst bringing value to the consuming public in a way we have never seen before.
And to some more company news, Africa Capital Works, a sub-Saharan Africa private equity company, has announced a significant investment in Doman Long Engineering Limited, an indigenous fabrication, asset management and galvanizing service. During a signing ceremony in Lagos, the chairman of Doman Long Engineering Limited, Mr. Timmy Austin Peters, says the partnership, which sees ACW bringing in long-term funds, will help Doman Long in its next phase of business growth.
This is the story of a company with RC number 744. Starting out as a British colonial company, building bridges like the first Niger Bridge, then into warehouses, tanker bodies and all type of steel structures before venturing into oil and gas space. Doman Long Engineering Limited, established in Nigeria in 1949. In the over 7 decades of existence, so much has happened, but management says resilience, evolution, adaptability, innovation has kept them in business. That tenacity has caught the eyes of the African Capital Works, ACW, a private equity company who is bringing tons of long-term foreign money to help Doman Long get to the next level.
This investment will allow us accelerate our growth, accelerate our development. You know, we're an old company, so we're going to refurbish our equipment, buy new equipment, expand our footprint, so that as some of these landmark projects which are coming into the field, you know, are made available for people to bid, we will definitely be there to bid for them.
And we're long-term investors. We are not a traditional private equity fund. We're a permanent capital vehicle, so our capital is much more patient, and we hope to be there in 70 years. Now, I think my investors would be upset, and I don't think I'm young enough to be able to last that long. But you know, we are here for the journey, and we're here to support the engineering services as it supports a lot of the infrastructure projects that are critical to you know, gross domestic product.
And it's official. Doman Long, which prides itself as the infrastructure support service provider of choice, has also got the support of these entities.
We have deliberately ensured that Doman Long got jobs that are equal to their capacity to deliver to the oil and gas industry. Hence why this success today, hence why we are sitting here, hence why the investors are able to come.
Doman Long Engineering, a structural steel, marine structures fabrication company, focuses on oil and gas, telecommunications, manufacturing in sub-Saharan Africa.
That's all from the nation's capital. Is over now to Anne Wawodo, who's standing by for some more business news in Lagos.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Mabwe. Let's begin business news with Nigeria's Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation. It has dropped again by 0.37% to 17.01% year-on-year, and that happened last month. That's coming from 17.38% recorded in the month of July, and that's the 5th consecutive month of decline this year. According to data released today by the National Bureau of Statistics, the Composite Food Index also dropped to 20.30% against 20. 21.03% in the month of July. At the same time, the country's urban inflation rate fell to 17.59% year-on-year from 18.01% recorded 2 months ago. Rural inflation rates also dropped to 16.43%, coming from a previous 16.75%, while core inflation, which excludes the price of volatile agricultural produce, dropped by 0.31% to 13.41%, coming from 13.72%, which was recorded in July. And global smartphone Infinix has unveiled 2 new devices in its Zero X series that is set to deliver cutting-edge innovation in Nigeria while redefining photography. At the launch right here in Lagos, the public relations manager of Infinix Nigeria, Kevin Olumese, says the Zero X and Zero X Pro bring the best of technology and design to customers. Both phones come in black and stereo silver colors, while the Zero X Pro adds some brown color.
The technology behind this amazing device, Infinix Zero.
A deep connection with space exploration plus smartphone camera technology at its best is what Infinix says it's offering with its new smartphone lineup called the Zero X series. And this launch has attracted top Nigerian celebrities.
Innovation and exploration of industrial design with a combination of simple design elements. The result is a hip, trendy-looking smartphone that is designed to accentuate the image of Zero users around the world.
The Zero X comprises 2 variants, the Zero X Pro and Zero X. The Zero X series provides a variety of professional shooting modes, including a super zoom mode, hybrid mode, and a night scene mode.
It's exciting, to hold in your hand, technology that allows you to explore not only the world around you, but the world that is beyond you. I no longer need a telescope to have a go at the moon. I no longer need a telescope to look at the stars in the sky.
The 2 phones share periscope modules with cameras that double as macro shooters.
One of the things that stood out for me is the megapixels on the phone. 108 megapixels means that I can capture so much details taking photo with this.
The cutting-edge technology integrated into Infinix Zero X Pro is just the beginning of what the brand seeks to achieve: stunning photography.
We want photographers to take a nature or lifestyle photograph with their phone, take a nice picture with your phone, send it to us at Infinix Nigeria with our hashtags CBeyond and Infinix Zero X. When you use these hashtags, send it to at Infinix Nigeria, you stand a chance to win a 500k grant to take pictures for us and to also empower yourself in the field of photography.
The company also unveiled 2 TWS earphones, the Infinix XE20 and XE25. With all these, Infinix says it's continuing its mission towards creating a world that defines endless possibilities.
The equities market moved further into positive territory on Wednesday, breaking previous records of consecutive negatives. Will Ibong tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the stock market reports. The equities market managed to sustain its bull run in the market, which started on Tuesday after a flat close at intraday. This is definitely not a Humpty Dumpty situation. The equities market is certainly gaining momentum as the all-share index rose by 0.12%, adding a whopping 25 billion naira to the market value, all thanks to bellwether stock MTN Nigeria, whose share price gained 1.45% in today's session. However, the total volume of shares fell sharply by about 38.1%, but on the flip side, value jumped more than 0.5%. Over to the sectors now, where Seplat Energy, down by almost 7%, drove the 2% loss recorded in the oil and gas index. Similarly, all other key indexes were also in the red. UPDC PLC maintained its leading position on the gainers chart, while Transcorp Hotels PLC led the losers, followed by Consolidated Hallmark Insurance PLC and Prestige Assurance PLC. Well, it's a major close for the midweek trading session. Let's hope the bull doesn't dismount from this rodeo. And that's the stock market report for Wednesday. I'm Will Ibon. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Will. Now let's take a look at the closing numbers from other major markets around the world. Business News for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. It's back to you, Millicent.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Okonjo Iweala, makes Time magazine's list of world's 100 most influential people in 2021, plus other international news and around the world in 5. Please stay with us. Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has added another feather to her cap, having been named among this year's list of 100 most influential people in the world. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala was named alongside U.S. President Joe Biden, the oldest person in this year's issue, former U.S. President Donald Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris, and tennis superstar Naomi Osaka, among others. Last year, she was named Forbes African Woman of the Year and was ranked by Fortune as one of the greatest world leaders in 2015. She's also been ranked one of the top 100 most powerful women in the world consecutively for 4 years. Let's go over to Simon Pusey, who has more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Senior Taliban officials say a major row broke out between leaders of the group just days after they set up a new government in Afghanistan.
There, it's almost like a family photo shots of the Taliban fighters.
Supporters of two rival factions reportedly brawled at the presidential palace in the capital, Kabul. The argument appeared to center on who did the most to secure victory over the US and how power was divided up in the new cabinet. The Taliban have officially denied the reports. The group seized control of Afghanistan last month and have since declared the country an Islamic emirate. North Korea has fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles towards the Sea of Japan just days after its previous launch. The latest round of missiles came as China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi was in Seoul to discuss the earlier cruise missile test and the stalled denuclearization talks between Washington and Pyongyang. A Chinese spokesman said that Beijing hoped that countries involved would exercise restraint and conduct dialogue. 9 Hong Kong pro-democracy activists have been sentenced to 6 to 10 months in jail for joining the peaceful Tiananmen vigils last year. Hong Kongers hold large-scale vigils on the 4th of June each year to commemorate the 1989 Tiananmen massacre. But authorities had banned the event for the last 2 consecutive years, citing coronavirus restrictions. Despite the ban, thousands still showed up to light candles and sing songs. The European Commission's president has said the bloc must learn the lessons of the US-led mission in Afghanistan and acquire the political will to build up its own military force.
Europe can and clearly should be able and willing to do more on its own.
Ursula von der Leyen made the comments in her annual State of the Union speech in Strasbourg. The idea of common defence has a long and tortured history within the EU. It is likely to be discussed again by von der Leyen and the French President Emmanuel Macron in the first half of next year, when France holds the rolling presidency of the EU. California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom has thanked voters for their support after he comfortably beat an effort to oust him from office.
Are enjoying an overwhelmingly no vote tonight here in the state of California.
The so-called recall vote was initiated by Republicans who've been angered by strict coronavirus regulations in the state. The outcome has been closely watched as an indicator for the 2022 national elections. The massive joint Russian-Belarus military exercise near NATO's borders will be completed today, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. The drills happen every 4 years and entail huge numbers of troops rehearsing an imaginary invasion of Belarus by a Western coalition. NATO warned that the military exercise increases the risk of an accident that could touch off a crisis. The US Soccer Federation has offered identical contracts to its men's and women's national teams in an effort to resolve a long-running dispute about equal pay. The federation has also urged FIFA to make the World Cup prize money equal. At the last tournament, the male players took home about 10 times more than the female ones. The US women are currently world champions, having defended their title in France in 2019. Police in Somalia's breakaway Somaliland region have arrested a man attempting to smuggle 200 lizards into Egypt. This footage, released by police, shows the suitcases packed with plastic containers that were allegedly used to carry the lizards. The lizards appear to be shield-tailed agama, which can sell for $500 each on pet websites. A spokesperson said it is illegal to export the region's wildlife because they can become extinct. And finally, the dream of going to space is coming true for 4 American civilians as they launch into orbit aboard a SpaceX rocket later today.
I want to thank you guys.
The 3-day expedition will be the first mission to space without any professional astronauts on board. The 2 men and 2 women are due to launch on SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Barring any glitches, they are expected to orbit the planet for 3 to 4 days, performing experiments as they go before splashing down in the Atlantic Ocean. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. Reigning African champions Nigeria Super Falcons have kick-started the maiden edition of the Aisha Buhari Six Nation Invitational with a 2-0 win against Mali at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena, Onikon, played earlier this evening. Well, the Falcons will be back in action on Tuesday, September the 21st, when they take on South Africa. In the UEFA Champions League, England midfielder Jude Bellingham and his team, Borussia Dortmund, shone brightly as they defeated Besiktas in the group stages, while Sheriff Tiraspol enjoyed a fairy tale start to life in the UCL as a club from a tiny separatist region of Moldova dished out a 2-0 defeat to Shakhtar Donetsk. Liverpool beat AC Milan 3-2 at Anfield, while Manchester City defeated RB Leipzig 6-3. And that's a wrap in sports news.
And the main news again. The Industrial Court today fixed Friday, September 17th for ruling on application of jurisdiction and contempt of court cases between the federal government and resident doctors. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Stay safe.